how do I know if it's working? Now you see right here when I'm talking, it's moving, but when I take this, unhook this one, just tap on it. No, this isn't. See how that? This is the microphone that's being used. All right. Now you have to switch this one. Hold on. You want to use this and clip it on job, right?
No,
on you. So that's input one. You lift it, tilt this down. I don't like that flashlight. Can I move this? Yeah. Okay. Input one. It says up on top, and you want to switch it. It's in the right order, but it's the wrong thing. Now tap on that. You see the top one? That's you.
Yeah. So both of them on now.
Both of them on.
I bet that'll work.
Okay. You just have to adjust that.
Cool. Thanks, bro.
Let me just make sure both of them are automatic. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, bet. Thanks, man.
No problem. All right. So now. Yeah. All right.
So what you gonna do now? You gonna interview.
All right.
Alright, so that's what you want to do. Alright, so mainly you're just gonna interview me, just ask questions about the book or anything you want to ask about based around for these books. Alright, so oh Lord. You got me all the way in the camera?
Yeah. Come up. Because your feet is not really in there, so I don't know if you want your feet. Come up.
No, the feet. We don't need to.
Because you might want less headroom too. Have a lot of head space.
Oh. Well, we really don't need the feet. All right. Right there. That's cool right there. All right, go ahead. Is both of those things moving?
Yeah.
Yeah, they move?
Yeah.
All right.
So tell us about the book and how did you come up with the title Crack? You know what I'm saying?
Well, when I wanted to create this comic book, I wanted to give the feel of my experience as far as the crack era of my life. And the title, the reason why I picked that title is because it describes the experiences that I had in the streets once I started using crack cocaine. And the reason why I added the ED on the end of it is because it's like crack is past tense, and it's like it was the final, the final moment of my life where I realized that I had to seek help and seek changes in my life because my experience being in the streets, homeless, using crack was a very devastating situation for me. And creating this comic book, a lot of people read the title crack and they miss the real ingredients of this comic book because there was a lot of police brutality in this book that caused me a lot of trauma. So I wanted to create this book to tell my story and what it was like being in the streets on crack cocaine in Miami, Florida.
And I know this wasn't like, one of those situations that you just want to relive over and over, but how important was this situation to get you to the man you are today?
Well, like I said, this event occurred in the early 2000s in Miami, Florida. And like I said, I was living on the streets of Miami, Florida, running the streets, getting high, lost in my reality. And for a long time, I was trying to find myself. And creating this book and this experience as it happened to me, I wanted to like use this experience to share with the world what it was like for such a young kid like me being caught up in the grips of addiction and in that struggle I really found myself. Sometimes it takes the devastation of a person's life to help them find themselves. And I can honestly say, through this change of reaction of my life, I really understood what it was like to be homeless, to be uh, counted out. It was like it was just an overall very emotional life experiences where I felt as though um, I had to seek therapy for it. I had to share with the world because I really never told the story because it was because I felt like they got away with it. And if you understand what I mean, back then it was no cameras, it was no it wasn't even really cell phones at that in that era of life. It was like camera phones. It was cell phone, but it wasn't camera. The camera era wasn't as like it is now. And I plus the event that occurred is where the police used their dogs to sick them on me and falsely accused me of a crime. It was very emotional, and to use this book and my story to bring awareness to police brutality, to bring awareness to just discrimination of the human. I feel like as though it was very painful to understand that people look at our race and still to this day they still torture us. They still shoot us down. They treat animals, dogs, and pets better than the average black human being. So me telling my story and being able to express to the world what it was like for me to be in that situation. When I tell you, when I was caught up in this situation, prayer, praying for Allah, asking Him to please save me from this evilness. It was very scary, and I got a chance to really understand what it was like for our ancestors to be lynched. In back in the days of slavery, when they was hanging us from trees, they was tie us up to horses, and they would stretch our bodies apart. They would cut open the female when she was pregnant. They would cut the woman's stomach open and pull the baby out and stomp his head. You know, all that went through my head when this was occurring in my life.
Especially down there with the alligator babies, they were put to catch alligators and stuff.
Yeah.
In that moment in time, what was your biggest fear that was gonna happen?
Well, like I described to you in the book, um, one of the K9 units, he put a knife to my neck, and he told me that, he said, nigga, you know we can kill you and get away with it. And when he told me that, I already, even before that even occurred, when they handcuffed me and I had no clothes on, I was butt naked, I knew I started praying instantly. I was asking Allah to please protect me from his evilness. And so in doing so, I just it was just scary, bro. Like I said, when it came down to that event, I just pictured my ancestors, the fear, the trauma, the it was just a moment of you can't even explain it, bro. It just I know today that I lived to tell this story, and and also like I said, I've been published the book maybe 2 years ago. Sold a lot of copies of it. It's a good book. A lot of people gave me good feedback on it. And it's a great book, you know. And so what I wanted to do, I wanted to be able to give a short documentary of this book, and so other people can know that when I talk about the book called Crack, Dope Boy Residues, the reason why I put the Dope Boy Residues, because these are some of the consequences of being a drug dealer. You know, because a lot of people want to be in that lifestyle. A lot of people love the lifestyle, and you see drug dealers controlling the streets, and people glorify it. But there's also a hidden there's a behind the scene era or behind the scenes of what happened to other drug dealers that doesn't control the streets, that fall off, the ones who start smoking, get killed, um, do life in prison, years and years in the federal penitentiary. So it's a lot of things, the consequences that come with their lifestyle. So when I named it Crack Dope War Residues, um, it was something that I wanted to create.
So, did you ever picture yourself surviving through that day and being able to tell your story to others?
Um, by the way, there's gonna be a part two,
Right.
Crack part two, because the book only tells a certain so much of the event. And so what I wanted to do was make a series of it. So your question is, um,
You know, in that environment, did you think you would live to see another day to tell your story? Or did you just think it was all over at that moment and, you know?
well, like I said, when they was lynching me with the dogs, sicking the dogs on me, I was hot. I was high on crack. I was out of my mind. But I had enough sanity to pray to Allah. I had enough faith, because I always, no matter what was my condition in life, homeless, in jail, in psych wards, whatever it was, I was willing to be able to pray. I always believed in praying. I always believed in doing, I was a righteous person. I just had a condition of, I was a slave to addiction. So I had to fight this addiction. But like I said, it was just so much going on at the moment. Because like I said, when they sucked the dogs on me, um, it was so real, it seemed fake. Let me just put it to you like that.
Right.
The reality of them sicking dogs on me and lynching me, laughing, and when the dog was biting my leg, he was smacking the dog, and the dog would get more mad, and the dog would like just pulling on my legs, and so to be able to tell this story, I know it was meant for me to live.
And approximately how many years ago that was?
Like I say, it was the early parts of 2000, maybe 2000. I think it was either from 2004 to like maybe 2003 to 2005. 97, somewhere in that era, because I went to Miami twice. See, this was my second time going to Miami. See, I had been to Miami maybe 2, 3 years prior to me being there at that moment. But this particular moment, I was there, and like I said, I was homeless on the streets. I was using drugs, and that event occurred as where I really don't want to get into detail for the second book, but I just want to stay on the event.
Right. So it was a two-part question, actually.
All right.
Do you believe the same stuff is going on present day in 2025?
Of course. Yes. You can see it on TV. Just a guy in New York. He was incarcerated. The officers had him. They was choking him, so he died. So
right. When
yeah,
you talk about specifically in Florida and
of
Miami,
course,
Florida.
of course. It just the only difference now is the cameras. But if they can get you in an area where no cameras, stuff like that happen. It's still like down south. It's still certain cities, I mean small towns in different cities and states down south is where
Sundown towns.
yeah, when the sun goes down, there are cities where black people can't be seen, and that's true. It's sad, but it's the reality of where we live. So me creating this book is sort of like therapy, and is giving me the clarity to heal from what happened to me. Because every time I see a canine dog, I instantly get those flashbacks. Instantly.
And once again, we want to emphasize the book is named Crack.
Crack.
It's not like a Nino Brown book or
Trap
House.
Crack. I mean, Crack is a book that I wanted to create. It's based around, like I said, a drug dealer who started smoking crack. And once he started smoking crack, he became homeless, started living in the streets, going in and out of rehabs, jails, and institutions. Just all different types of, sleeping outside, just the lords of the lords, and that's something that people don't care to discuss, and another reason why I wanted to create this book and tell this story is because one thing I learned about a drug addict, when they're using, they have no voice, they have no say-so in nothing. People, they don't even get valued, period. So imagine racism is all in a black man in America, racism is very high being a black man in America. So it's hard for us. But imagine being black with a drug addiction. See, that's like double layers of you don't even exist. You people, so you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So
next question would be, what advice or what strategies you would give somebody who was in that position you was formerly in to pull themselves out of it?
What I did, I can't give it. I'm gonna give advice based off my experience. What I did, it took a lot of pain, a lot of suffering out on the streets, a lot of hurt, a lot of disappointments, and it took a lot of praying. And then I began to, because I had to humble myself. I had to become humble. I had to understand and realize that what I'm going through in my life is a lot of pain, and I don't know how to get out of it. So I had to be willing to be teachable on how to come out of this such condition, because it was like I was in a hole. I was in an environment where I really didn't know how to get out of this situation. And then thanks to the Creator, Allah, for giving me, for sending people and putting people around me that was in my condition that helped me come out of my condition. You understand? Yeah. So, like, even this shirt, see, this shirt is one of a mugshot of me when I was in the streets. Um, I always promote my brand, and one of the things that helped me when I promote my mugshots, it keeps me in reality. It keeps me in reality to stay humble. It keeps me in the reality of when you see people on the streets that's sprung out, drugged out, lost, confused, uh, even mental health, people that's not on drugs. Because everybody you see out there on the streets, they don't have a drug addiction. Some of them just mentally ill. Some of them, something happened to them in their life and it caused a lot of pain. A lot of pain is where they never uh, recuperated or you understand, they never came snap back from that reality of their life. Because one thing I learned, like when I got shot in my head, um, that event was so real that it seemed fake. And that's what reality is in my life. Events that are so real that they seem fake, and when they happen to you in your life, are you able to overcome such main events like
Okay, and how important is you writing the books, you're doing the artwork, you're doing your videography and your photography? How important is that as, helping you overcome all of the hardships? How therapeutic is that? I mean,
that? Oh, okay. Well, when it comes to me creating this book, there was very much anger. There was a lot of sadness, depression, a lot of hurt, a lot of rage, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, a lot of see. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is like when I was creating this book it was hard to create this book because it's like traveling back in time and remembering this event and seeing these faces, these people that did this to me. You understand? It was like to relive it and to not just write it, but you gotta draw the images. See, words are strong, but when you see images or pictures of the event, it hit different.
right. My next question is the next part of the book. And is it gonna be, as much action as it was in this one? Because a lot went on. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it was groundbreaking and life changing. So is this another transition in your life that occurred in the next part?
Uh, we're gonna say that for the next book, but I will tell you this that it didn't stop there. It was more. Um, it just was more that occurred after the event, actual event that was on the scene. I'm gonna call it a crime scene because that's what it was. It was a crime scene, and they got away with it. But I ain't gonna say they got away with it because now that I don't got older, see, I know that the creator, I truly believe that you reap what you sow.
Come on.
Yeah.
And that was my last question was, do you think these guys are still out there comfortable doing the same thing to others? Because everybody might not be as strong as you.
I'm pretty sure because I know I probably wasn't the first. I know I wasn't the first person that they did that to. So on saying that, a lot of them may have passed away. I don't know. I mean, because like I said, on the scene that actually happened, it was like anywhere from maybe 10 to 15, almost 20 officers on the scene watching this. And for them to sit there and not one of them to say, yo, I don't think this is cool. Not one of them. That's a scary. That put fear it put fear in me to be around those type of people. You know. So in saying it, I just know that through what I've been through, it was very challenging, but I do believe that the Creator put his grace around me and his mercy. I know he did. On that scene, when I was down there, on that scene, on that ground, I know for a fact, I felt it. I felt it, the presence that they ain't gonna kill you.
Would you be willing to give like a screenwriter or a producer, the story?
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, the goal is to create books and stories and documentaries to share with the world different ins and outs of my life, and to get the stuff that I need to bring my story to the big screen TVs to share with the world. Because, like I said, I truly understand and believe that my books, my story is to be studied. People can, if the youth, not just the youth, anybody that suffered from drugs, anybody that been in jails and institutions and hospitals and psych wards, um, penitentiaries, rehabs, detoxes, if they study my life story, they can learn a lot from my life.
All right. And with that said, what are some of the things that you've done in present day to give back to others? You know what I'm saying? Who might be in those situations, on drugs, in the streets, whatever.
Okay, a lot of things. I travel different in my years of recovery. I've been traveling to different schools, sharing my story. I do speeches. I travel to rehabs, share my story. Um, I see people like anybody that purchases my books online. Uh, I use those funds to feed the homeless. Um, and that's mainly what I like to do. When people support my brand and give to share with me, when I share my story and my comic books with the world, I use those funds to feed the homeless. I give out shoes, socks, clothes. I do a lot of things, because like I said, when I see people homeless on the streets, struggling in life, it bothers me. It bothers me because I know what it's like to be there and nobody cares. People don't like people will see a homeless person and it's like they don't exist.
Right. A program like that, they got set on fire and they watch it sit there and burn.
Yeah, so it's like so for me, when it comes to see, I always understand that there's nothing funny about a drug addict. When I see people laughing at homeless people, making fun of them and mocking them, it bothers me because you don't know how they got there. You don't know what happened to them in their life, and it's like you should be very careful of what you make fun of because it may not hit you, but it can hit your family. Then another thing I realized, right? Every family got a drug addict in their family. Every family. I don't care what family you are. Every family has someone either struggling with drug addiction or mental health. And it's never funny to make fun of the So me giving back to the world, man, when I see homeless people, when I see drug addicts, and me being clean and they knowing my story is a light for them. It's hope for them, inspiration for them. Because I don't talk to a lot of them, and they look at me and say, man, I know I can get better because you did.
All right. And how about because you do a lot of lectures for students also, children,
Yes.
right? So you talked about the people who are already addicted, but how important is you to stop them from making the same mistakes you made by talking to the students and the children in the future?
Well, when I share my story, because see, I heard somebody's story when I was young, but my mind told me it ain't gonna happen to me. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because when we're young, we feel like we're invisible. So it's like you can share your story, but one thing I realized, the people that was trying to warn me when I was a kid, every time something happened to me, their faces was in my head. I remember their stories. So that's why I believe in sharing my story. You may not get it now, but down the line, you may catch on.
All right. And did we leave out anything?
Nah, with that, like I said, I just wanted to break down a short story or like a backstory of what the episode was about. Something to kind of give you the behind the scenes of what it was like uh, writing, shooting this episode. Because, like I said, my books, my story, my life is for the world to study.
All right.
That's it. All right, so man. All right, yeah, so we done with that. Oh, let me see something.
Deep shows.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Man, what else can I do? I'm done, man.
All right.
So you when the next time you coming up, bro?
Probably in 2 weeks. Not this week, next week.
Not this week.
Yeah, next week.
I'm supposed to come on the 27th with the students. Well, did you get up here and see them?
No.
Oh, it was up.
Probably. They was leaving when I was coming in.
Yeah.
So it was probably like a bunch of them scattered in the front, maybe like, because the bus was out there. So whoever rode the school bus is still left behind.
Yeah, they shit, yeah, I seen their teacher, so I supposed to do
Yeah, see if you can plug me in. I would love to talk with them.
Well, you just on that day, just come up here. So you come up here and you kick it with us. 27. It's on a Monday.
All right, well, I gotta see.
It's on a Monday.
Because I know I still ain't get it. Right now I'm about to see if I can get a calendar. See, I'll do like with the calendar, so it's hard when I don't have that visual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if it's a scheduler, I might have to go to the dollar store and get a little hand scheduler book. It's hard for me to remember everything because I got 10 kids, and every time I look, somebody's having a baby, or my landlord, or like I'm sick. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for you, what, I'd be under the bed right now.
You sick?
Yeah. You know, I got bronchitis, so whatever that fog was, or whatever that shit that they was putting in the air, it wasn't no good for me. Oh shit.